streaming, hopefully.
I see dialogue that it says it is now streaming live.
Awesome. Okay, so we are live streaming now, and we are ready to go.
Okay.
He apologizes. Okay.
Welcome everyone to the second NAWIC National Officer Candidate Town Hall meeting. If you were unable to join us live while we're streaming, then this will be on the NAWIC website later. I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce our national candidates for the 2021 year. For President-elect, we have Doreen Bartoldes and Jill Hansen. For Vice President, let me make sure I get these in the right order. For Vice President, we have Lawleen Mitchell. For Treasurer, Karen Hager. And for Secretary, we have Christy Stewart. I'm going to give each one of the ladies a couple of minutes to really get more into the introduction of, for instance, what chapter they're with, region, how long they've been in NAWIC, and maybe a brief summary as to what prompted them to get on the national board. So let's start with you, Christy, if you don't mind. Give us a little
Sure,
bit.
Sandy. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time this evening to join us. Since joining the Durham chapter of NAWIC in 2012, I have served on the national level as the South Atlantic Region Director in 2017 to 2019, on the region level as Professional Development and Education Chair and also Membership Chair. I've served on the local level as President. I've previously held positions on the Board of Directors and participated in various committees with other chapters in the region. I originally got my start in NAWIC in the early 2000s in the Southeast region with the Tallahassee, Florida chapter. With over 20 years working in the construction industry, I have proven leadership skills, problem solving, successful team building, as well as collaborative planning skills. I want to use those skills and work with the National Board this year. My goal as National Secretary is to continue the hard work of our previous leaders while contributing through my ideas and designs that will help increase our efforts to continue advancing our association while building national networking opportunities and helping create new and powerful industry relationships beyond our own backyard. Thank you.
Thanks, Christy. Up next is Karen Hager.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second, can't talk tonight. Let's just start in then. I'm with the Greater Orlando chapter, and I'm in the Southeast region. I've been a part of NAWIC since 2007. I've been in the construction industry for over 33 years, so doing construction accounting. And during that time, I was always one of those backseat kind of people that never really talked to anyone, didn't really get out and meet anyone. And then once I joined NAWIC, the camaraderie and the networking that I did there really got me a little bit more confident in myself, and knowing that I could, and it brought out the leader in me. So knowing that made me want to get into leadership with NAWIC. So I was the Southeast Region Director for 2 years and Treasurer this past year, and I'm going for Treasurer again. And the reason I like getting into the leadership of NAWIC is so that I can give back to other members what NAWIC has given to me, giving other people the confidence and knowing that they're leaders, that they can do what I've been able to do.
Thank you, Karen. Lala.
Thank you, Sandy, and welcome everybody. It's great to have another opportunity to network and meet with everybody, answer your questions. I'm Laleen Mitchell. I am part of the San Francisco chapter number 19. I held all the offices within our chapter on the local level, and then was encouraged by a lot of ladies in our region to run for director. So I did that a few years ago, sat on the national board with all of these ladies, except for Sandy, and have worked closely with all of them. And I'm very excited at the opportunity to continue our work on the board and to continue to move NAWIC in a positive direction and hopefully become a household name for all and something that all the women in construction can access. I'm a project manager for a mid-size multifamily developer, general contractor, and we work here in California in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Thank you. Jill.
Hi, ladies. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name is Jill Hansen. I joined the Tampa chapter in 2006, served as, at that time, Region 3 director. That was 2013 to 2015, took a couple years off, came back, served 2 years as secretary. I'm currently vice president now. Honestly, I looked at Ricky Lovejoy. She was our director at my first region conference, and I said I wanted to be just like her. So I am stalking Ricky, a couple years behind her, but she was really the inspiration for me, and it's just the encouragement and everything I've had from all the support that I've gotten through this association has just been very awe-inspiring, and so I look forward to leading us onward.
Okay, thank you, Jill. Doreen.
Hi there. Doreen Bartoldis. I'm a construction management leader for Jacobs. I work on water and wastewater infrastructure in New York City. I joined NAWIC in 2004 at the Greater New York chapter. However, I moved across the country to California, and I was in the LA chapter for 2 years, and they put me right on the board as a director in LA. I came back to New York for work and rejoined the New York chapter, but then proceeded to charter the Lower Hudson chapter. And then recently the Lower Hudson chapter merged back to Greater New York. So I've been a president of all those chapters several times and treasurer, and yeah, that. And then I became director of the Northeast in 2016 to 2018, served with all these wonderful ladies here. And then I was national treasurer from 2018 to 2019, and then remained serving the board on different committees, et cetera. So the reason I continue with NAWIC these 16 years, I've been involved with this organization because of the women I want to mentor and the impact, but obviously they've been impacting me as well. And I've learned many skills that I use today, and I want to share my success with as many folks as I possibly can. And I'm seeking national office as president-elect to help move the organization forward with increased membership, increased exposure on the national level, and aligning our vision and mission with the companies we work for and providing value to our members. So thank you, Sandy.
Thank you, Doreen. We're gonna get right into some questions that some of the members have submitted. I think we've got some great questions here, and give you an opportunity to speak to them. The first question is, what is one word that holds the key to moving NAWIC forward? Who would like to start on this one?
I'll start.
Okay, Doreen.
So my word was heart. Basically, we have to be nimble in all we do, but we have to remember that our members are going through a hard time right now, as will the organization. So I think we just have to have heart moving forward.
Good point. Laleen?
I was worried that Doreen was going to steal my word, which she said nimble. I was like, darn it. But I actually had agile and nimble as my backup because I wasn't sure who was going to go first or what order. I was like, okay, I'll go. So I think that we're going to need to be tremendously agile. We're going to need to be able to think quickly and understand things. We're going to need to be able to move quickly and easily. And we need to be able to pivot on a dime if it's required, whether it's an opportunity that might arise, or if something isn't working, we might need to stop it and then pivot and do something different. So I think agility is going to be our word for next year.
Very good. Karen?
Well, the word I would come up with is courage, because as women in construction, we must have the courage to take risks and do what's necessary to make a difference. This is really important right now when we're in such an environment of uncertainty. We need the courage to keep us strong and to know everything will work out, and the courage to face what is needed when this is all over.
Very good. Jill?
I think my word would be connection, and this wouldn't have been my word 2 months ago, but I think it's imperative that staying connected with each other and NAWIC staying connected with its members is going to be the key to moving NAWIC forward.
Excellent. Christy?
I think my word would be strength. The quality or state of being physically strong. I think for us right now, it is important that we show just how strong that NAWIC is. Women in construction, there's strength in numbers. I think we have to lean in together.
All of those are excellent words, and I think will be imperative as we go forward. Next question. Are you a bold leader willing to take us to new heights? To use your voice knowing that others might want to play it safe? Kind of is a continuation of the first question almost. Jill, we're going to start with you.
Absolutely. I've never had a problem speaking my mind, and I don't shy away from change. I believe that we have to change and adapt to be successful, and that's true of both our association and our industry.
Okay. Christy?
Yes, ma'am. I am absolutely bold. I think everyone that knows me, has had conversations with me, know that I will use my voice. I do not see this board as a play it safe group. I think that we all know what the stakes are for our association. And I think that, you know, we will be working towards what, just for an example, you know, our marketing plan. I think that, you know, we're all going to come together and continue on that.
Excellent. Thank you. Laleen?
Yes, absolutely. After listening very carefully to all sides of the issues or whatever the problem might be, I have no problem making a decision that would be in the best interest of the association, regardless of whether, you know, I'm worried about us being safe. If it's the right thing to do, I have no problem doing that. And I would say, just on a more fun and casual note, did you see Hitch? Because even a spectacular fail sometimes gets you the desired result. And it shows your willingness to work hard and do whatever it takes to search for the best method to connect and to make things happen. So I would say, yes, I am, definitely. And thank you, Vicki Nicole. I love you.
Okay, Karen.
I do believe I'm a bold leader with my out-of-the-box thinking and willingness to take on challenges. I mean, as a construction accountant, it's my job to play it safe, but that doesn't trickle down to business strategy. NAWIC is a business, and unless we're willing to stand up for what we believe in, we won't succeed. We can no longer survive with just the status quo. We must think and strategize on a different level than before, and it's no longer just about what percentage do we want to increase our membership, but about how do we retain our members and what type of members are we looking for? Then what can we offer them that's different from other associations? How we have to show our members that we believe in diversity and then walk the walk so that they don't feel the need to go to these specialized groups that are coming up out there.
Very good point. Dorit?
Well, let me just start with, I'm from New York. So that just goes with saying that I'm pretty bold. Yes, I am a bold leader, and I agree with everyone here. None of these women are quiet. They speak their mind. Their ideas are great. We've always, they're all gonna laugh. Yeah, oh yeah. and yes, I'm definitely bold. I've always spoken up. And our marketing plan is part of that, my speaking up a long time ago, and a couple of others here also joining me with that. And I just want to also note, this is the third time I'm running a campaign, and I've never run unopposed. So I think my boldness is still here. So I'm hanging in there being bold. So just saying. So yes, I'm a bold leader.
Thank you. And I can attest to the fact that knowing all of these ladies, there's not a shy one in the bunch. And we're grateful for that, because there is true bold leadership in each one of you. Does NAWIC have a continuity plan in place to navigate us through this swirling environment? I've never heard it really referred to as swirling, but it probably is. Who wants to go first?
Karen does.
Okay.
She did. She had a really good commentary.
Go ahead,
Well,
Karen.
As far as continuity, I mean, it depends on how you're looking at it. If you're just looking at continuity so that all the chapters provide a united front, we have the Taylor brand marketing that's creating a new marketing brand for us, so that we have continuity across the nation in how we look and how we present ourselves. If we're talking continuity in how we go forward as an association, NAWIC has funds in reserve, just like the chapters do, to ensure the continuation of our association. With the cancellation of the forums and trade shows that we're planning on attending, the National Board has been able to mitigate expenses to help with our bottom line. And as we move forward, leadership is making plans to safely orientate our new board members and to continue to give our members information, education, and support, such as with meetings like this that we normally wouldn't have to do. And our new marketing plan, it really couldn't have come out at a better time, making our brand stronger and more visible in order to compete with those other associations that are going to survive in this environment.
Very good. Back to you, Jill.
Ditto. Well, I mean, I can't really say it better than Karen did.
Right.
Except that, you have to know that this board is not sitting still on stuff. I mean, it feels like we're Zooming very often, just to keep in touch with each other, especially since, we did get together for mid-year board meetings. So we were doing a lot of business at that meeting at the end of February. But we've been constantly having calls and making decisions since then. So we're not sitting on things, typically somebody else on this call says it best, but I'm not going to say it, but it's not one of those, we're not waiting to make decisions until we see each other face to face the next time. So there's a lot of decisions that are going to be made between mid-year and annual conference in Houston. So I don't think, none of us want it to go stale. I mean, we have great forward momentum going right now, especially with the decisions that we're making and the blueprint that we're making on the marketing plan and how we're going to roll it out. So I think it's very important that that the members know and understand and realize that the board is moving forward. NAWIC, the association, is still going.
Excellent. Doreen?
Sure. So yes, Karen did say it very well, and as well as Jill did as well too. So this is kind of where I did use my bold voice a long time ago with the marketing plan, but and that's part of the continuity. And the other part of that too, Karen brought up, is when I was treasurer, we capped it off. It was put in place and we capped it off. And obviously it's probably not capped off. I'm not sure what happened in the last year, but I'm sure it's been managed very well. And that's there for, say, operational continuity, keep our staff employed. We don't have to lay off staff. We got a couple of years worth of, salaries and things for that. So there is a continuity plan in place. It's just not titled continuity in that regard. Also, I think generally NAWIC's governance, we've been here since 1955 and we've gone through a lot. So NAWIC itself, the way we govern, the way the boards are making decisions, and as Jill is saying, they're getting together, they're continuing to move forward and make decisions that are important to the organization. I think that's our continuity plan, is just to follow our governance and listen to people's ideas. So, and if we do need some kind of emergency action plan, I think that certainly can be put in place. But you know, I'm not sure if that exists yet, but that certainly I know on projects that we do also. And that's probably, when I heard continuity plan, I was like, do we have something specific? So I think NAWIC just can continue as it is because of the way we've governed, before the way the things have been put in place by the past board, the current board, and the future boards. I think we're ready to go.
Very good. Thank you. Christy?
This is a question. I'm listening to each of the ladies answer this. I've been absent from the board the past year. I don't know that I know enough about the inner workings of the board to really adequately answer, but I can certainly say that I feel like now is the time, you know, for NAWIC to step up and out for us, and this is going to be the board to do that. I see the collaborative, you know, a collaborative crew here. We all have the same goal in mind, and I think that, you know, we're all going to be at the top of our game with this.
Thank you. Laleen?
Yes, so this is a bit of a challenge for us in the sense of to say that we have a formal continuity plan, not exactly. Karen very correctly brought up the fact that we have set aside specific reserves so that we do not have a repeat of 08 and 09, where I think we felt a little panicked and a little uncomfortable with the loss of revenues. We've definitely built up quite a bit to ensure that we feel confident in our finances. And as I believe Jill mentioned, that we have continuity of staff and we have reserves enough to take care of them for at least a year or two, maybe even 3. But there's also been a continuity in terms of the board. Diane has been awesome to work with, and she has coached me through many different scenarios and conversations, things that have arisen, but also helping me think about possibly becoming president. So whenever I have questions, I actually have conference calls with her every 2 weeks. I know I'm not the only one. She has made an effort to coach the entire team. So our continuity plan is that we all know what each other are doing. We are mentoring the people behind us, and we're also mentoring up and down. So it's been good to know that. I feel fairly confident if, you know, God forbid anything happens, I can step in. I have a decent understanding. I think Anne has also done a really good job and has had an opportunity to work closely with Jill. And also the fact that we get together the CEO symposium, again, we are working collaboratively at the top to understand what if. How would we pivot? Who would do this? Who's required to take care of this? How does this work? So the higher you go up the chain, the more your knowledge expands, and everybody is really good about helping each person understand their roles and their responsibilities and their duties. And that, I think, has helped us have a continuous and effective board.
I agree with all of you. And I might say, have to give kudos to previous boards. Even before I came on, boards had established reserves. You know, we did get through some tough times. Yes, we've had in years past had to use some of those reserves, but I'm glad to see now that decisions are being made in a way that those reserves are being built back up. And it's just like running a business, we have to do that. So kudos to the current board as well as boards before us that set that in motion. And that is a continuation to keep NAWIC moving forward. Just had to get my 2 cents in.
And thank you, Sandy.
Can you please address why retired members cannot serve on the nominating committee for their chapter? I'm going to start with Karen on this one.
Well, this has to do with the way that we're chartered and how we're governed. We have to be governed by active members and people that are actively employed in the construction industry. And part of our chapter standing rules are that the nominating committee has to be made up of not less than 3 voting members. And I think part of the rationale of that is that the active members and the voting members are the ones that are actively in the construction industry. So they're the ones that have their finger on the pulse of what the members that are actively working in construction need out of their leadership. So it's not necessarily specifically excluding retired members. It's just saying that it needs the voting members, and that helps with just keeping things relevant to those that are actively employed in the construction industry.
Okay, would anyone else like to add to that?
Sure. Yeah, you know, that's a fact right now. And I was there when things changed, when we created retired members and student members. And I know a lot of people are still feeling the pinch. So I think the question behind the question is more, you know, am I still relevant as a retired member? And we really have to make sure we engage the retired members. I think we did talk about this the last town hall. And as I'm heading into retirement someday soon myself, but not too soon, you know, you want to stay relevant. You want to have influence on the chapter. So I think if somebody's feeling left out, there's plenty of ways to serve on other committees and things. And I think it's up to chapter boards to make sure they're engaging their retired members and their student members who can't be on the nominated committee either. So I think that's what's really important. I think that's the question behind the question.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Laleen, would you like to add to that?
Just, we had a lot of conversation about this because, again, it's a complicated issue in terms of that. And as Doreen noted, it's not just retired members, it's also student members. So it's voting members, it's Article 9, elections, Section 1. And, you know, it's not to be exclusive. It's to be inclusive of people who are directly working in the construction industry and are familiar with the local community as well, because they're doing business in that community. And it just translates into more informed people helping to choose the leadership. Again, it's not meant to be exclusive. So I think that, again, like I said last time, you get what you get out of things, what you put in. If you're interested in trying to shape the chapter, then, you know, talk to folks about who you think is the best candidate or why this person should be asked. And instead of actually doing it yourself, you can still whisper to people or, you know, have conversations openly with folks and tell them what you think, because they want to know too. They want to hear. They want you to participate. So please reach out.
Jill, would you like to add to that?
I mean, you know, it's not a NAWIC law. It's IRS law. So I agree with everybody, of course, but it's not to exclude. But I mean, I personally, I think retired members should see it as an opportunity that they're not going to get voluntold. And this is the opportunity for them to be mentoring those next leaders. If they see something in somebody in their chapter or even on the national level, you know, they should be putting their 2 cents into that person and saying, you know, this is why I think this way, and this is how we used to do it, and this is why, and give them the history of NAWIC. I mean, this, you know, I don't remember how that saying goes, or we stand on the backs of those that came before us, that kind of thing. I mean, and it's true. I mean, we, you know, we wouldn't be where we are today without the retired members. Right. And we're not planning on going forward without the retired members. You're just serving in a different capacity.
Exactly. Christy?
Not a lot really that I feel like I can add to that, Sandy. I think that everyone has really touched on a lot of different things. Our retired members are our foundation. Again, in volunteer life, I believe that you get out what you put in. And, you know, you as active as you want to be, you know, if you have ideas, if you want to share those and you're a retired member, you have a voice. I mean, nobody's taken your voice. You can talk to the chapter presidents. I mean, you can talk to us. You can talk to past national presidents. I mean, you know, we're all here for each other.
Very well said. I appreciate the comments from each one of you. I'm not a retired member yet, but I am a little bit older than all of you. And I agree. I think every member has a voice. I think sometimes we have to be cautious in how we use that voice. You know, we want to be received in a positive manner, and to do that, you have to gain that respect and how you do mentor. And I do agree that the seasoned members have a role, an active role in helping mentor our younger, newer members to see that that continuity of leadership continues. So very well said, ladies. I'm looking to see if we have some additional questions. Anyone
Yes, we
to this or watching this, you do have the opportunity to offer questions at any time.
I do have one question. What are you doing as an executive committee and individually to mentor the directors to move up into executive committee positions?
Excellent question. Well,
I know. Actually, Diane and I believe Anne also have had the foresight to suggest that we mentor officially. And so each person on the executive committee has 2 directors that they specifically work with. And traditionally they're not, like, I don't have Kelly, who's the P&W director. It's somebody, you know, in another part of the country that you are able to work with. So I have Jody and Jessica Huff. So we get on the phone every month on the second Friday of the month and chat for 10, 15 minutes, or can go as long as half hour. If they have questions or issues, or after we've had a conference call, they might say, well, I don't understand why somebody said this, or what did that mean? And you know, we get to chat, and I don't have all the answers necessarily, but we get a chance to kind of rehash and think through some of the things that we've decided or talk about or that didn't make sense. So there's a very formal process. And then of course there's an informal process. I love Kelly to death. So I call Kelly all the time, my P&W director, and she calls me and says, well, where's this? What did we do? So there's a lot of conversation. And I think that all of us on the board are really open to each other and want to help and support each other. So if you have a question, it's simply a matter of picking up the phone and trying to work together and understand and get the information you need.
very good. Christy?
Well, I'm trying to.
You haven't been
Can
on
you hear
the
me?
executive committee yet, but you have served as a director. So from that standpoint,
Yes,
you respond.
and I have, as director, I reached out to and worked closely with several of the chapter presidents and also the incoming director. And I do still reach out to her and, you know, offer encouragement. I'm there to help and assist, you know, as best I can.
Okay. Karen?
Well, one of the things that I like to do when I'm in a position is to make sure that I can make notes. I make notes, I make best practices notes, checklists, anything that can help that person that's going to come into that position behind me. When I was director, I kept notes and kept guides from when I first started on the board that I was able to hand down to the director coming after me, because those things changed. And some of that information that I had as historical information was useful to her now. So that, you know, in the years that it's going to follow after I'm done being treasurer, then I'm going to have that same type of information for whoever's going to come after me, so that I can be there and coach whoever that person is, so that they can be the best at their position that they can be, just like I try to be the best I can at the position that I'm in.
Very good. Yeah.
Well, like the mentoring relationships that we have set up with the executive committee and the directors, I mean, I think it's important that you also have those personal relationships with the directors. And I think that, you know, there's a couple directors that I know if they have questions or whatever, they may not call their mentor, or anyway, they may not call their assigned person on the EC, but everybody knows that they can call whoever they want. They're just, the relationship is set up just to give you that first link of somebody that you can reach out to. And it's really, it's encouraging because we were all directors. I mean, we know what they're going through, and hopefully we can help them get through that hurdle that they don't think that they're going to be able to get over. And there is light on the other side of an event. You know, you just have to get to it and through it. And, you know, you just, sometimes you just have to talk them down. I mean, they're just kind of freaking out for no reason. But we also try to play a non-micromanaging role too. I mean, we're all adults on this board, and we all know how to live our lives and have a job and have a family and multitask. Nobody needs us looking over their shoulder, judging everything that they do, but being available to them should they need something, or just by seeing, you know, she hasn't been very talkative on the past couple calls. Let me just give her a call and see what's going on with her. And I just think that the personal relationships part is extremely important. And I think that that's been one of the pluses that's helped us get so much stuff accomplished as a board, is being able to get past roadblocks, however they may be.
Marie?
Yes, well, I think mentoring is terribly important, and it can't be forced, but when I became director, actually I had 2 mentors, and I was very lucky. I had Connie and Catherine were both mentors. And I think Jill and I, weren't we? I think Jill and I we either shared a mentor, or she was one of my mentors my second year as director. And and they were very encouraging, and that's why I'm here today. And I'm hoping, as we all step forward, that we're acting as mentors to those directors who are, you know, who may be stepping out. Maybe they can step back like Christy is doing, or, you know, hopefully they're looking up to us now saying, okay, I can do this. So I think it's very important. And I still, as everybody here, we're always open to our directors. We're always open to asking them questions, or them asking us questions. You know, we're just a phone call away, and they know that. I'm very sure they know that. So thank you.
Very good. NAWIC is a business. We run it just like a business. And, you know, we have a choice. We can either equip people to succeed, which is our purpose, or we can set people up to fail. And that's not an option. So I applaud each one of you, because I know you've been on the receiving end and the giving end when it comes to the mentoring part and working with our future leaders. And I appreciate that. Chrissy, any more questions?
We do, but if I could just piggyback off of what you just said, Sandy, all of the ladies on this Zoom call tonight have not only mentored each other and other members of the board and other NAWIC members, but I know personally that I've reached out to several of these ladies myself and other staff members, and they also mentor and pull up members of the national staff as well. And that is extremely appreciated. And because, you know, we want to build leaders everywhere, and they know that. And that is such an important part, that it's not just within that board, that they mentor everywhere they go. So I just wanted to add my 2 cents on that. And
very good. I'm glad you did.
But our next question from the chat: what things have you each learned from the COVID situation that you'd like to implement for NAWIC's future?
Oh, okay. That's a good one.
A big one.
I think we'll start with Doreen, because Doreen's in the hottest COVID state. You know, New York has worked hard, and
Yes.
I don't know how tight you are with the governor up there, but maybe you've learned something.
Yeah, well, I wasn't before, I am now. We're learning a lot here, and what we're learning is nothing's going to be the same. The association generally, I'm sure, will be somewhat the same. I mean, our heart, our connections, the who we are. But look at this, we're on Zoom. I mean, this is one thing that's happening. People are connecting this way, and that will change a lot. The fact that COVID-19 will be around for a while, it means that we're going to be in spaces where we're not, you know, so close to each other. We're not hugging each other. We're not like crowded around. I'd love to be crowded around the bar again soon, but you know, that's not happening. But so, but what would I change, or what, you know, if people have seen my email, I put out a thing about called what do I want to be during COVID-19, and it talks about whether we want to be fear, and it kind of transitioned into growth. And I think what could happen to NAWIC is great growth. Well, you know, I'm not meaning just members, I just mean like who we are and who we are to the industry. So I think if we can be nimble, as Laureen said, and if we continue to have our heart and we continue to move forward and think of new ways of doing things and new ways of connecting with our board, our chapters, our regional directors, and getting information there and back, and also with our industry. I mean, these are new ways to connect with our industry. And we can follow along with other associations too. I mean, I saw the DBIA cancel their national convention, but then put out a vendor, they called it a vendor networking thing, but they did it, you know, they asked all their vendors for, you know, I guess they probably didn't charge as much as they did bringing them to to their convention hall, but said, you know what, for a small fee, we'll put you out there on a virtual sort of roll around deal. And they put the, you know, that, what they call a virtual, like, you know, not a town hall, what do we call it? A vendor, like booth, sorry, expo, that's it, virtual expo. So we can start doing things like that. We can do virtual expos, we can do lots of things virtually. It's not the same as connecting, you know, in person. I can't wait till we can do that again. But I mean, there's a bunch of things we can be doing, and the ideas can just flow. We just have to think a little bit differently and outside the box.
Very good. Who wants to speak next?
I will.
Can you repeat? Oh,
Go ahead, Karen.
What I've learned from this COVID-19 situation is that we are a bunch of resourceful and resilient women. We're strong. We have had to cancel our forums, and we didn't stop.
Mm-hmm.
We figured out ways to get the information that we were going to get to our members through those through the forums in other ways. So we are resourceful, and we just keep going. So the one thing that we can learn going forward is that there are opportunities available to us if we just look for them, and that we have to stay connected. And that's something that keeps us going, and that's something that makes us stronger.
Laureen?
could you repeat the question, Sandy? I just want to make sure I'm answering.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, or was it Chrissy?
Chrissy, you want to repeat that question, please?
Absolutely. Okay, this one, what things have you each learned from the COVID situation that you'd like to implement for NAWIC's future?
Okay, thank you. I thought that was, but I just wanted to make sure. And
You're
part of that was the inspiration for my word in terms of what I believe it was Vicki asked us that holds the key to moving NAWIC forward, which is agility. And then I'd have to throw in a dose of innovation. I think that, again, the virus has taught me, because our state has been in lockdown mode for a long time now. And it seems like every 2 or 3 weeks, we get some updated orders. And so as a result, again, our business has been working the entire time. So we've had to pivot each time and implement those new recommendations, or those new orders, I should say. They weren't just recommendations, they were requirements. And as a result, we have had to constantly reevaluate and look at how things were being implemented in the field and if it was being true to the order and whether or not it was accurately capturing the requirements. So it's the same thing. We had to be agile and we had to be flexible. We had to innovate in ways that we were not prepared for because this was something new that none of us had ever experienced. And I think that that is going to be one of the keys for us next year. And in future years, I think it's always good for our association to remain agile and nimble and flexible and be able to take situations as they come and adapt to them in a positive way. So that would be my answer to that.
Thank you. Jill?
I've learned I actually talk to people more often, I think, than not. Like if we'd been in our normal, I probably wouldn't have talked to some people as often as I had. I've also learned that I drink way more now than I do at NAWIC meetings. So I got to work on that personally, but it's these virtual happy hours every day. Somebody's having one. I probably don't have to attend every single one, but I like to be involved. I think it's important, on my chapter level, we wondered, we canceled April's meeting right off the bat, because that was when everything started going down, was right before that. And then when the board got together, yes, I'm on my chapter board too. When the board got together and had our board meeting, well, not got together, we, Zoomed. One of the, we said, do we want to try to do like a virtual meeting for May? And everybody was like, well, yeah, but what are we going to do? We had a speaker, and you know what? The speaker was willing to set up a PowerPoint and present it to our membership that way. And we had just as many people on the call as we would have had at dinner, and not even all the same people. So I think it was really, I think it went really, really good. And if there's any chapters out there that are weary about it, just find somebody. Everybody's willing to speak now. I mean, you don't have to buy them dinner. You don't have to pay their travel to get there. All they got to do is log on. So I think that making the remote connection doable, I think it's really important. If we end up having to have our orientation that's scheduled, the new board member orientation, if we end up having to have that remotely or virtually, then making sure that it's investable and that people are going to get something out of it. So I think making sure that our content is going to be worth the join. For somebody to sit there and stare at us on the computer screen for an hour, you have to make sure that they're going to disconnect with something that they take with them. So I think just making it, making it a benefit, I think, and I think that that's very doable for us. I don't see a problem. I mean, our industry as a whole has been moving more and more towards technology. Now we're just thrown in it and having to learn it now. It's not a gradual thing as it was going. Now it's just we got to do it and we have to learn it and we have to make it beneficial. So that's what I've learned.
Okay, thank you. Christy, we'll let you finish up that question.
Well, I think given the recent world events, I feel like we're getting a pretty good look into our future. I think communication is the key. I think technology is, well, it's living up to its promise. It's keeping us better connected. It's certainly rapidly changing, how we live, work, play. It's tougher for some to keep up. I think, being able to use the technology, similar to, what Jill was saying, to be available, for our upcoming year. Virtual meetings or at least the board meetings, that may become our new normal. These Zoom meetings, it may be that, instead of driving all across town and everything else, to meet in a boardroom, we actually just meet on the computer. Right now, I think we're witnessing that, shift. Entire industries are seeing, that working from home it's quite effective. I think the impact, of increased telecommuting remains to be seen, but I believe our new normal to involve, much more technology. So I think, now more than ever, and I know I said this a lot, but, know your tribe, stay connected. When you want to just stay out of technology, you got to embrace it. That's all I have to add.
We as women in construction are strong women. That's been said many times. We're overcomers. I think the task before us is not to just survive, but thrive. And I think, the leadership that we currently have and that we see moving forward, I think we have great opportunities before us. Doreen, you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, I'm just thinking about all this. I think what we're going to be doing is being focused on what really is our highest priority, and making sure we're providing that right return on investment, making sure, if we're going to be doing things technologically, we do it the best way we can. Because I am learning Spotify, Zoom, I'm picking up a whole bunch of others, what's the other one? Marco Polo. Does anybody know about that one? So I'm learning a whole bunch of new stuff, and I think we're all going to learn new, but I think we're going to become hyper-focused on what's really important. And I think that's going to be really good.
Okay, excellent. I'm going to throw something out. We kind of addressed it last meeting, but maybe for those that didn't join us last time, I'd like for each of you to think about what you think your strongest leadership skill is, and how you feel that will help you in the coming year as far as a leader for NAWIC. I know I put y'all on the spot, but as leaders, I know you're up to the task.
Well, I'll start, I guess, because last we spoke all together, mine was empathy, and it hasn't really changed. So I think we have to listen. We have to know what people are going through. We have to understand. And then we have to take that into account as we move forward and make decisions. So I think empathy is going to be really important.
Okay. Christy?
Well, for me, one of my top core competencies is connections, making and sharing them. So I think that for me, that's not going to change. I want to, make more connections and build more relationships from those.
Okay, thank you. Jill?
I think it's the calm. I tend to leave everything at the door, and I like to make sure that everybody has a say before we make a decision on stuff, to make sure that both sides are heard and understood.
Very good, thank you. Karen?
One of my strong leadership skills is adaptability, which doesn't necessarily mean that I just go along with the status quo. I feel like I'm able to adapt to multiple situations. I mean, I've done that throughout my career. I was with one company for 30 years, but I still adapted to every position I was in. And then when you change to another company, you adapt to that position. And it's the same in NAWIC as we go through the years. Like with the new marketing plan, we're going to have to adapt to some things that we're doing with that. Any new position that you get on the board, you have to be able to adapt. You can't just keep saying, this is the way it was done before. I don't know what I'm doing. You have to find out what you're doing and then adapt so that you can progress and make things better.
Excellent. Well,
I would have to say listening while seeking to understand, trying to find consensus with the group and helping us make cohesive decisions. I likened it also, I had mentioned last time that I was in Toastmasters, and one of the things that you learn through Toastmasters is listening and accepting constructive criticism about the speeches or the comments that you have made. And so that has helped me to become more empathetic and more open to listening to what others have to say, regardless of whether I agree, or again, it's not always done well, but at the same time, it forces me to listen. And so I think that that has been a pretty good thing for me in that sense. And I think it's one of the things I do okay.
excellent. All of those are great skills, no doubt. And I know over the years, as each one of you have honed your leadership skills, you're still learning, and hopefully none of us ever stop learning, no matter how old we are or what our position. There's something we can learn every day. And, you know, being considerate of others, having the empathy and the willingness to listen, and as Jill said, stay calm. You know, we're all faced with challenges, but those skills certainly help us get through those challenges. Back to you, Chrissy.
Okay, we have another one. How will NAWIC help support those members that have lost or may lose their job? And how can we strengthen our NAWIC network during such an ever-changing time?
Great question. Laleen, you want to start with that? Oops, sorry, I missed the hand down there.
Jill, do you want to start or you want me to?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Do you want
Go
to
ahead,
start?
Jill.
Okay.
Since I'm the one that's unemployed right now, I can actually start.
There you go, Christy.
All right, Christy.
So again, you know, it's what you get out what you put in. So you know, we're going to have to stay positive. We're going to have to lean in together. You know, you've got to reach out, stay connected, make your contacts with, you know, with your connections, and ask for help. You know, if you need help updating that resume, if you need help with, you know, some interview questions, just, you know, anything like that. I mean, we have to help each other. You know, that's the only way that we're going to get through this. Thanks.
Very good. Jill?
Well, we do
Yeah.
have a great career center on the website with resume service and job postings. So that is one of the services that we have out there. And while you don't want to, you may not want to advertise that you don't have a job, this is the best place to let everybody know. Because if we hear of something, you know, we're going to be thinking of those of us that have lost jobs during this time.
Excellent. Laleen?
I think this is a great opportunity to reinvent yourself as well. Think about the things that you really want, where you'd like to focus, where you'd like to move into, or where you'd like to be, futuristically speaking. And here's a prime opportunity. You didn't do it. It isn't your fault. It is part of what's happening around us with the pandemic and sort of the economic uncertainty, but we're going to come out of this. And when we do, if you spend this time concentrating on where you want to be and what you want to do, I think, as everybody else has already said, stay connected to your people in NAWIC. And even if it's just finding out about companies that do those types of things that you would like to do or what you'd like to focus on, finding them through other people in NAWIC, or even looking on the website at our sponsors or the career board, as Jill mentioned, they're all great places to do some research and to learn more about the things that excite you. So I think I wish everybody luck if you're in that situation. And again, don't hesitate to reach out. There's no shame in that game.
Exactly. Thank you. Karen?
I think as an association, what we can do is to continue to provide opportunities for growth, for learning, the webinars, NEF, to help people stay relevant so that when companies begin hiring again, that they've got the skills that they're looking for. And we also have a lot of member companies and members that are staffing agencies. So we need to, reach out to those members and those companies to help us out. Something that we might be able to do is to have those companies be available to our members, put a listing on the website of those companies. So.
Okay, good point. Doreen?
Yes. So yes, for women in NAWIC, they may feel, actually, this is the time their membership is most valuable because there is a huge network. We do have a directory. From the national level, we should be bringing in the industry. As Karen is saying, we should be, bringing more partners, showing the skill sets of the women that we have here, what we're providing in education, et cetera, so that they see that they're going to get a good woman for the job. Also, we do have to start thinking creatively. I know, membership dollars are big dollars for a lot of people. So I think, and I have to give credit where credit is due. It was our marketing and branding guy. He talked about maybe you give like a discount for the second part of the year or something. There are some things we can do, and chapters can give discounts to members who are laid off. I think there's a lot of things we can do to hold on to our members, keep them engaged, bring in the industry, look for creative ways to hold on to our members, and hopefully members realize staying connected and networking with the people is going to help them, because you never know when somebody, because I have Christy in mind, I've seen her resume, and if I see some kind of position, I'm putting it out there to her. We're LinkedIn, there's all sorts of stuff. And because the women know you, they can recommend you. So it's very important to stay connected now more than ever.
Exactly. All right, it's almost 6 o'clock. Chrissy, is there anything else, any other questions we need to quickly address?
I've had one more, and I'm not sure if the candidates can answer this one or if it's more of a, actually Karen may be able to. What will the financial implications be if the attendance at convention is down based on the current COVID environment?
Well, really with anything like that, the expenses and the revenues kind of go hand in hand with each other. So it's not going to destroy the association if our attendance is down. We always hope it's up, but it's not going to be something that's devastating. We have a balanced budget when it comes to the convention. We make sure that what we're anticipating spending is what we're going to anticipate bringing in. So that's pretty much it. I mean, it's a separate budget outside of the association budget, I guess you could say. It's built in, but it's separate.
Yeah, I can second that remark, being treasurer before Karen. Yeah, it's budgeted on its own, so we'll be safe.
Okay, very good. Give you 30 seconds for one last comment to our NAWIC members. We're going to start with Christy.
Don't forget
Sandy,
to vote.
I'm sorry. I'm very sorry to interrupt, but I did have one last question just came in. Is a change or exception to the rules or established procedures ever warranted without going through the proper process to make those changes or exceptions?
Repeat that one more time.
Mm-hmm.
Is a change or exception to the rules or established procedures ever warranted without going through the proper process to make those changes or exceptions? That's a big question.
I mean, that's a tough one.
Yeah,
There aren't any NAWIC police. And
Example,
again, yeah, exactly. And if you have consensus on your board and feel like, again, you're doing things in the best interest of the association and not an individual. I mean, without, like Christy said, knowing the exact example, it's really hard to answer that as a yes or no question. But again, like Jill said, we're all adults. We all are trying to be reasonable people and want only the best for the association. So again, I think that that's one of those things that you're asking. If you can step back and honestly say that you've objectively considered it and it's the best thing for the association, then likely the answer is yes.
Yes, and I agree with Laureen.
Jill,
It's
you wanna add to
really,
that?
it's about, it's. Can you
Oh,
guys
go
hear
ahead,
me?
Doreen.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I started talking. Sorry. Should raise my hand.
You're okay,
No,
go ahead.
Just following up with Laureen, and it's just common sense. It's case by case basis. And when in doubt, I got some good advice from a lovely woman, Robin Fulton Meyer. When in doubt, a chapter can talk to their director and see if they're doing things in the right direction. So that would be my advice.
Okay, Jill.
Well, I mean, my concern is that this may be related to something to do with the pandemic. I mean, just it's the kind of question seems to be coming out of thin air. Again, without knowing any details, it's hard for us to say yes or no, or we're coming after you. So I think that I think as long as you're whatever it is, as long as it is for the best interest of the chapter association, then, you know, better to ask forgiveness. If you can't ask for permission, Robin's gonna hit me.
Deb's coming after you too.
Yeah, I'm not saying that right though. I mean, I just, never mind. I plead the fifth.
Okay, Karen.
It's hard for me to understand if this question is coming from a chapter level or a national level. But either way, you have to make sure whatever your decision is, what you're doing is not jeopardizing the chapter or the association as a whole. And that should be a consideration for any decision that's made. And that it's not benefiting a single person or a single little small group, that it is with the whole association in mind.
Christy, you get the last word.
I was the one that wanted the example, so.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a yes or no question. I had a very smart lady tell me one time that if we're, we do everything right according to IRS, that's the best we can do. So, I don't know. I know that, sometimes in the chapters, we have to do what we have to do to, if we have to step in and, help out. Again, it's just it's a very broad question.
Well, as we know, we all have to live by the bylaws and IRS. Just like in life, are there exceptions? Absolutely. But we have to be cautious in how we handle those exceptions. And we sure don't want to jeopardize any charter or the association as a whole. So something to consider. But again, without specifics, we're not sure the exact answer to that question. I would like to thank each one of you for giving up your time.
Sandy, I'm so sorry to interrupt. I was just going to say, if you have a specific,
No, you're okay. Go ahead.
If anyone has a specific time thought on that, of a specific question, a time that this is happening that they're not sure about, that they can absolutely always reach out to the national office or to any of the board members or any of the candidates on this call, if they would rather, if there was something specific that they would like to address but not publicly on this forum, they can always call one of us directly and have a private conversation about that and get some better answers, more specific to that situation. And that's all of the questions that we have.
Absolutely, Chrissy. A good point. And don't hesitate to reach out to the National Bylaws Chair, Robin Fulton Meyer, or the National Parliamentarian, Deb Lacer. You know, these ladies are very knowledgeable, and I've used them just this week. So use your resources because they're there for every member. I would like to remind everyone, again, thank you, ladies, the candidates, not just for your willingness to serve, but giving of your time to participate in the town hall meetings. Each one of you are very gracious and knowledgeable, and certainly leadership quality. I wish each one of you the best of luck. I would like to remind our members that the ballots will be going out May 15th. I hope you have your email address updated in the membership directory on the national website. The email will go out on the 15th. For those that don't have email, paper ballots will be mailed. You will have till May 31st to submit your ballot. If you, I believe as Chrissy had indicated to us before we started the meeting, the email is set to go out like after midnight on the 14th. So when you get up on the 15th, hopefully you will have that email that gives you instructions on how to, the link to go vote. I encourage everybody to vote, show your support for these candidates. If you don't get the email, you don't find it, first of all, check your spam folder or your junk folder, because it'll be coming from an address maybe that you've not received before. So check that. And then if you don't receive the email, please reach out to Chrissy or Lori McCullough in the NAWIC office. They can get you that link. So don't use that as an excuse not to vote. Again, I encourage you all, if you don't, if you have questions for any of these candidates, reach out and touch them, because they're more than willing to have conversation with you. And we want everybody to make that informed decision when they do cast the ballot. That's really all I have. And I say again, thanks to all of you ladies, our candidates. Thank you to our members who have participated by listening to this meeting. And I wish nothing but good things for NAWIC, our members, and our member companies moving forward.
Thank you, Sandy. Fantastic job as always. And thank you, National Office, for putting this together, coordinating.
And thank you, ladies, for listening.
Yes.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Good luck to all my candidates.
Thank you, ladies. Stay safe and healthy.
You too. Thank you.
So,
Wow.
Take care. Be careful.